Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey, everybody, welcome to... wow, slap me, Tony.
It's me, Todd Novak.
Tony, slap me.
Bassmaster.
Not so hard.
Ow.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show tonight. Yes, Tony.
Yes.
It's just me and you, as is the running standard these days. But we've met a lot of interesting people that I think we hope to have back on the show.
Yes.
And speaking of being on the show, we have somebody on the line right now. Person, please describe your name.
Hi, I'm Bill from Humanoid Pedals.
Bill, do you have a middle name?
I do. It's Edward.
Bill Edward. So William Edward.
So we're going to call
Tallisch.
him, we'll call him
Tallisch.
Edward from this point forward.
No.
You could. I won't
Edwards.
respond because I won't know that you're talking about me.
Who's this Edward?
Is your formal name William?
Yes.
Okay.
His given name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you were a baby, they pulled you out, and he's all wet.
That's my
William
my
Edward
initial.
Tallisch. Come on, Tony, keep up with me, baby.
Oh. Now I get it.
Oh boy,
Boy,
it's gonna be
you-
a rough one, ladies and gentlemen.
You've got, your humor quotient is
It's high
off the
right
charts.
now. Yes,
Off the charts.
It's ridiculous. All right.
Oh,
so,
boy.
anyways, he mentioned he's of Humanoid Pedals. So, if you don't know what Humanoid Pedals are, Bill, where can people go and find out more about this?
The main website where I do business is humanoidpedals.com.
Okay. And you have some Instagramming going on.
Yeah, mainly Instagram. I've been dipping my toes in some of the other social media platforms. Facebook, Threads. There's that now. There's
the Threads, yes.
Yeah, there's the Threads.
The Threads that everybody used once.
Yeah, I don't really see too much point in it. I don't really do too much Twitter.
X.
Occasionally,
It's not Twitter anymore. It's
Oh, yeah.
X.
You know what's really interesting about the Threads thing? If you joined under Instagram and it has a number, you're like, it seems as though, what? I've got 79,474,414 followers on Threads. No, that's the number person you were when you signed up. Why is that relevant?
I don't know.
I guess
I'm like
that's your
100
number?
billion. I guess it just says like 100 billion plus or whatever for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
pretty
convenient,
amazing
but-
stuff. Aren't we all glad we have Threads? Anyways, let's just get off of this. So, Humanoid Pedals, we're going to find out all about the story behind Humanoid Pedals. You sent us this lovely little tone. It's called a tone distorter. I think that's actually
the Goblin.
pretty accurate, which is it's not really a distortion pedal. It's sort of like almost like a hybrid fuzz kind of thing. We'll get into it. Don't spill the beans, Bill.
No.
Okay.
Did you play it though?
Of course.
Okay.
That's why we said send us a pedal so we can understand what you're doing.
Good.
This is the Goblin. So
Yes.
if you are sitting around in the back seat of an Uber or something, do a little go listen to some Goblin sounds, and then you'll understand what we're talking about. Now, you've got a couple other pedals under your belt, and we're going to talk about those too. So
Yes.
all in good time, Bill. In the meantime, I did have an announcement really quick.
Okay.
For those of you who enjoyed the Henry Cash episode.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I enjoyed that one, by the way.
Good. Well, we're going to have Parsons Guitars on the show.
Oh,
Yes.
the bat.
I'm very, very excited.
Oh, my goodness.
Very excited. And we also, I also wanted to throw this out. So I ran across a fella the other day on YouTube.
That's a Jaredism.
Yeah. I found a very well fine good gentleman on the show. Anyways, yeah, I was just kind of browsing around. I was looking up something in particular, which I can't remember exactly, and I stumbled upon a YouTube channel that I think a lot of you actually might like out there. It's called, now, don't let the title throw you. He dips into all kinds of different kinds of music. But it's called the Punk Rock MBA, like M as in Mary, B-A. So like a degree you would get. Master of what?
Business administration.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew that. I was testing you. Tony, you're very good. Okay. His deal is he goes deep into stories behind bands, stories behind genres, stories behind like what happened with these guys, what's going on with this, and he does it in a very articulate way, very knowledgeable and very engaging. I would highly recommend giving that a listen. That is Punk Rock MBA. It's on YouTube, and I've watched a whole bunch of episodes. They did a whole like, here's the whole story of the Misfits, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. Let me check that out.
Yeah.
But again, not just about punk rock. One of the later things he talked about was what's up with crap music right now. I mean, I don't think that was a title, but that was basically like, why does it seem like music sucks right now? And obviously, he immediately said, "Look, I don't want to come off as the old guy. Music sucks," but he's like, "But legitimately, it kind of does. Let's talk about why." It's very interesting because it's not just all subjective. I mean, he gets into some like what are the actual reasons that people may feel like that right now. So well done, Punk Rock MBA, if you're listening out there. And I'm actually going to send him a little note. I think it'd actually be maybe interesting to see.
Why
if
don't
I
you
could get
send
him
him a
on.
note? Say, welcome to the world of podcasting.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's got it under wraps.
If you need any, if you have any questions,
don't ask me.
Todd will handle all of your
Sure.
technical needs.
Yes. Anyhow, those are my announcements.
Yes.
Why don't we mosey on over to the wide world of
What's going on in
what's
your
going on in our music world
this
this week? That's my line, Tony.
It's my line.
All right.
It's my line now.
It's my hold it now. It's my rhyme. Okay. Tanya.
Yes.
Yes. The neatly coiffed,
Yes.
the beef smelling ish cologne. We're O'Day beef tonight.
It's my McD.
It's
Special thing.
O'Day McDonald's. All right.
Yes.
What's going on in your music world this week?
Well, Todd, I like to peruse the news and the just new stuff that's coming out in the guitar world. And I ran across this is to me it's exciting. This just happened. They released this a couple of days ago, and it's about time.
Mm-hmm.
So Guild has released a Kim Thale.
Oh, wow.
They call it a Polara. It's an S100 Polara.
Yeah.
And it's his signature model.
Yeah.
Now, Kim was with Soundgarden, and that was really the guitar that he played. And it's kind of an oddball choice for, most big rockers. The S100 was basically Guild's answer to the Gibson SG.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar. The offsets are a little bit different, but essentially it's the same type of thing. And
Yeah.
I've owned a number of original ones of these over the
He
years.
plays super light strings too.
Yeah.
Like crazy light.
Yeah. But
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, it's and there's a lot of players out there that have switched over. I don't get it. I can't play light strings.
Yeah.
But
So does-
anyhow,
so does Angus Young.
yeah. So Billy
Really
Gibbons uses 8.5s.
Yeah.
Come on. Weird stuff. Yeah, but anyhow, I was excited to see this, and I don't know. I don't have any in my collection anymore, but I even had one of the Acorn, the carved top S100s.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
it was a cool little guitar. But these are pretty cool. Now they've the import model is probably what most people will buy. That's listing out at $899, that's not a bad deal. I don't think that's a bad deal at all, given the fact that most of these, you can't touch a vintage one anymore for probably under $3,000, $2,000 or $3,000. So
what was the big difference? Because if you're looking at it, it's like, looks like a duck, smells like a duck. It must be a SG.
Well, I mean, the body shape was slightly different. The pickups were different. He used Guild pickups.
Trapeze, tailpiece, wasn't it?
No, it was not a trapeze tail. It was a stop tail.
Okay.
But different than what Gibson would have used.
It's like slanted.
Yeah, it's a slanted bar.
Yeah, that's right. Slanted bar.
And interestingly, through the 1970s, they came standard with Grover tuners. And there's one thing on the original ones that some people say is, oh, somebody must have added that switch. The original series, I'm talking the 1970s series and up, had a coil. Was it a coil tap or a phase switch? I think it was a phase switch. And so there's a little mini switch on the face of the guitar that everyone seems to think, oh, that was added later. But it's not the case. Now, here's where I just had to chuckle a little bit because so they're going to have this import model for $900. They're also going to do a limited run of 30 of a USA master built model. And what would you say a guitar like that would cost?
At least $500.
You would be right.
Yes.
Bill, do you have a guess?
Oh, yeah, probably $4,000.
Well, you would both be wrong because this one is listing at $69.99.
Wow.
Now, I mean, I get it. It's a limited run. It's a master built. It's, it's got all
did
the...
he sign them?
Yeah, those I believe he actually signs. So you better sign it for that kind of money. But here's the thing. I mean, you could get a couple of, maybe 3, maybe 4 vintage models for that kind of dough.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I guess it's cool. And like the ultimate collectors are going to go after that one. But, that's outside of the realm of...
Yeah, that's costly.
Yeah.
I was a very, very big Soundgarden fan early on. And Kim Thale was one of the main people that I was listening to at that time. That's where I got kind of like a lot of my like open droney like strings. And oddly enough, the other guy that I found that did that was,
Brian Setzer.
Billy Duffy. Anyhow,
Billy
so
who?
I was I liked that sound and I really loved their early albums and had the pleasure of meeting them and seeing them.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Did you get your hat signed?
I did get my hat signed. Like I actually got my hat signed. I didn't like get it on accident. And I knew who was signing it. Yeah. And actually it was really it bummed me out because the hat that I had was I had sewn a patch from one of their earliest releases onto my hat, and this was during the Bad Motor Finger album.
Yeah.
And Adam, the bass player, wouldn't sign it, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I didn't play on that album," and I was like, "Oh." But they did sign my CD and everything, so that was cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
Anyhow,
good for you. Well, that was my music world this week.
Neato, fantastic. Bill.
Yes.
What's going on in your music world this week besides building pedals?
Well, I got a new pickup for my Stratocaster. I changed the pick guard out.
Nice.
And Ohio Love, I play bootstrap single coils.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did get a Seymour Duncan JB Trembucker because I never had one. And it was time, so I did it.
How do you like the Trembucker? And now when you're the Trembucker, you mean you're using a full size?
The full size humbucker.
Okay, so you have an HSS
for the bridge.
Yeah,
I play the HSS, but I do have like 3 other pick guards that I'll that are fully loaded that I swap out occasionally. But I'm a tinkerer. I started out building swapping pickups and stuff out on my Area Pro 2, way back. And Yeah, and so I've played a bunch of different humbuckers, and I wanted to to compare it to the classic. And I actually had the Bootstrap Sweet Serranos, which are the humbuckers that they only release like, what did they do? They only make them like a couple times a year. And those were very nice. They were like a PAF, and I just wanted to compare it to, what's kind of the standard, right? And it sounds great. I swap my pedal board around all the time, and I swap the pickups around all the time, and yeah, I mean, I think I'll stick with it for a little while.
Yeah.
I'll keep it. I think I'll keep it.
Well, interestingly, so the Trembucker was really designed for Strats primarily.
Yeah.
And I actually have used Trembuckers in Gibsons in the bridge position, especially on older ones that maybe the string spacing's a slightly wider, and it lined up better and actually sounded better in a couple of guitars that I put them in.
It fits. It's not too long.
No.
Interesting.
No, I mean they're in a like a Les Paul or something like that, it uses the same ring, but if you're putting it into a pickguard mount, it's a different size. It's about an eighth of an inch.
It's a different pickup. If you look at it, it's hotter, and it has more output. It's like 16.4 instead of 15.6 or whatever.
And which set is this that you're using?
This is just the JB. So it's the
it's a JB. Okay.
Yeah, it's the JB. So it's not the SH4. It's like the TB.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, TB4.
Yeah.
It's that now that, and I think what you get, even though it reads really high, it because it's using Elnico 5 magnets instead of ceramics, it really mellows the sound. But I use a JB in a lot of guitars for the bridge position, and I like either a 59 or their jazz pickup for the neck position, like if it's in the Les Paul or something like that. And I think doing what you're doing, I mean, having a hot bridge position in combination with the two single coils is a really good option. Yeah,
it kind of makes it a little bit darker when you have the hotter output, and especially my single coils. I made sure that I got the overwounds right. These are the Elnico 5s, and there's the oatmeal stouts, and I think these are actually the imp stouts that are in this pickguard, so they're even hotter.
Okay,
and they make it sound a little bit darker, and it sounds phenomenal because I play on a maple fretboard.
Okay.
And I have a 1967 Fender Princeton. So the amp, can be pretty bright. It's got natural presence. And so, just having that extra warmth. Plus I've got all the different pedals I'm testing, and they're high gain. And then I play on a bunch of stuff that's low gain, and it sounds great. I put anything into that amp, and it just sounds phenomenal.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good choice. I mean, that's a good platform. It's hot for some people, but what you say is true. I mean, if you take single coil pickups and wind them above and beyond, they do start to darken up.
Very hot. Very hot.
And that's if you have a bright guitar to start with, having darker pickups is a good combination.
Yeah, it's not like it was overly bright, but I mean, it does. I am playing on a bright amp. And there's no mid control, which is fine because
there's a pedal for that.
Yeah, there's a pedal for that, and I do have a new pedal coming out soon, which kind of does a lot of bit of mid tweaking. It's like a I'll just tell you, it's called.
Wait a minute.
Okay, never mind.
Save that. We're just at the very beginning.
Oh my goodness! You have broken a cardinal rule of talking about something on your music world this week.
You signed a waiver.
Got it. That's right.
All right.
I skipped. Oops.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Quite all right.
You get one of those.
Yeah.
One of those. Now, let me ask you this, Todd.
Yes, sir.
What's going on in your musical world this week?
My music world started off really awesome because I got to go to the Smashing Pumpkins show down in Cincinnati at Riverbend.
Smashing Pumpkins. I love doing that.
Very nice.
Yeah, you say that every single time.
I know I do. I can't help myself.
Yeah, and it was great. This was I've seen many of the shows, and I did a post on Instagram about it. But honestly, they're known as somewhat of a concept band. You know, kind of each album tends to be of its own, and so when you go see a show, songs that you like are kind of sometimes put into an experience. Yeah, every tour they do like its own experience.
Right.
And this one was like they were a rock band. They came out and just tore into it right away. It was awesome.
Nice.
It's like 4 guitars up there and Jimmy Chamberlain. That was it.
Oh,
So 3 guitars and a bass.
Yeah, okay. I was
He
going to say,
counts. He's a big part of the sound, that Jack Bates.
Yeah, I thought he might have switched over to acoustic or
Yeah.
something.
And it was just great. There's just some LED lights, and I don't mean some LED lights. Their light show was bananas. It was fantastic.
Nice.
And it was a great experience. And I got to go with 2 of my friends who I mentioned on here, Chase Gullett.
Ah,
Finally got him out of the shop.
yeah. I
And
saw he closed yesterday.
He did, yeah. He's like, I'm going.
He should be closed today.
And then Mark DiCenzo, which we've referenced him. He's one of my friends that helped us out early on getting the equipment on the show the way we wanted it to. And then Road came along and took our idea. Whatever. Anyhow,
Did you get to hang out backstage or anything?
yeah, we
or?
got to see him afterwards. The
Yeah.
seats were killer. We got to see him afterwards. Went
Yeah.
out there for a little bit and headed back. It was really great.
Nice.
My ears are actually
Wow.
still ringing a little bit because it was just. I think I explained it as it was a rock and roll sandwich with extra fist.
Ooh.
Yes.
Very good.
Are you
Yeah.
allowed to say that on a podcast?
It's like a fist in the middle of of 2 pieces of bread, like coming at you. Anyways,
That's good. That's what you want.
yeah, that's what I wanted. Dang, burn it, and I got it. Let's see here.
Yes.
We
have.
Speaking of the Smashing Pumpkins, and speaking of Jack Bates and Jeff Schroeder, who has been on many, many times. as
You
well.
almost couldn't remember his name, could you?
I'm just so
He's
excited
going to be
to
the
talk about
first
this.
velvet jacket wearing.
I
guest.
know. We keep promising this to him, but he never. We got to produce it. Anyways,
Well, we'll produce it.
you need Tour Gear Designs patch cables on your pedal board
Why?
because it's a great segue out of that. Because if you say you are gonna check out one of these awesome humanoid pedals, and you're like, I need one of these pedals. Well, this is he's got side jacks on the Goblin.
Yep.
Well, what happens if that goes to my top mount? Any other thing?
Get yourself an S cable.
Get an S cable. That's right. And if you got 2 that are going top mount to top mount, you get a C cable.
See?
Starting at 3 inches and going all the way to 24.
You know, Todd.
Yes.
When I was testing this out, I used Tour Gear Design patch cables.
You did.
I did.
As did I.
That makes 2 of us.
That makes 2.
Bill, are you familiar with Tour Gear Designs?
I'm not.
Well,
Now I feel bad.
we are gonna give you an incentive
Okay.
to discover Tour Gear. We love them here.
Yeah.
And everybody that tries them loves them.
Hey,
They're-
speaking of trying them,
I'd like to.
Johnny Morales from Oakland Guitars
Yes.
just became a Tour Gear dealer.
Oh, how cool.
So if you're in the Oakland area and you're
Yeah.
like, what are these Tour Gear patch cables that everybody keeps talking about? Go to his shop and get them.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about them. They're flat.
They're flat.
They come in 2 different shapes,
Two
the
different
S
shapes.
shape and the C shape. They
Yep.
tell me that they cannot produce my requested W shape. So I guess, we'll just have to live with that. But the real cool part of this is you've probably used pancake cables, patch cables before, right? With the big old head that is in the way.
Yeah.
The head on these, it's a right angle plug, and the head itself is about the same size as the jack.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
You can literally jam a couple of, maybe 2, maybe 3 extra pedals on your board if you use these cables.
You absolutely could.
And they're extremely affordable.
They are.
Oh, my goodness.
Go over to tourgeardesigns.com and get yourself some awesome patch cables, and don't forget the coupon code.
That's right. The Guitar Knobs, all lowercase, all one word. You're going to save an extra 10% off an already very affordable product.
Indeed.
And you get them fast.
Yes. So fast.
So fast. You
fast.
you
I'm
blink
looking at
and they're there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them online right now.
There you go.
These look very nice.
No,
That's good
they're
stuff.
very good, and they come in so many different sizes and shapes. You just load up your cart, put in the coupon code at the end. You'll be happy that you did.
And if you do go to Oakland Guitars, tell them Guitar Knob sent you, okay? All right, everybody. Thank you to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tanya.
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Bill from Humanoid Pedals, who's thoroughly enjoying all the escapades tonight. What is your 4 on the floor?
Yeah, these are. I had to think a little bit about this earlier for sure. I think that one of these, which I just actually obtained, right, has to be number 1, and that's the 74 script MXR Phase 90.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so I've got that one, and it's lovely. And
This is the reissue or the
this is the reissue,
Okay.
the 74 reissue. Yeah, the vintage script.
Yes.
There's no LED and no power cable.
Oh, you know it's on, though.
Well, that was built originally before LEDs existed.
They didn't
Yeah.
need them. They're like, hey, what does this pedal do?
Yeah, you pressed it and it was doing the thing or it wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, and you knew it was on because you heard it or you didn't.
No, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
the Phase 45 did enough, but the Phase 90, I think, is the one that I think most people would agree is the better of the two. I think they even had a Phase 180 for. I mean, it was a big pedal if I remember right.
That's the big one. Yeah, that's the big one. They all sound different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Phase 90. If you go on like any, whatever, Sweetwater right now, you'll see there's 3 of them that are the Phase 90, but they all sound different.
Mm-hmm.
So even the script one with the LED sounds different than the non-LED, right? So yeah, it's true to spec, hand wired. It sounds great. Yeah, you got to put it before any dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have no problem with because I put everything in the front of my amp. I don't have an effects. Well, I do. I actually have a Gibson Gold Chorus, which was like a 90s. It's a twin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the 90s version of like the Roland, trying to be like a super chorus, right?
Uh-huh.
And it sounds great, but it's solid state. So I switch back and forth on them, but all of those, the first one I put everything in the front of the amp. You got to put the Phase 90, basically almost first
in chain, or maybe
before dirt.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and okay, so I guess let me see number 2.
Number 2.
This was tough. I like the Rat, very cliche. It's great. I've only had, the new one, the Rat 2. But I don't know. I might have to say and this could be controversial, but not necessarily. The Boss, the DS2, right?
Oh.
Okay.
So not the DS1 distortion, but
Right.
the turbo.
Right.
Right. So it's got 2 modes. And it's great. It's great. You can crank it. There's actually a remote. You can switch modes with a remote if you, I don't have it.
A remote. Oh, like a remote switch.
A remote switch.
I was literally thinking
like a TV.
like a TV.
It's a TV remote. Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Man.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's cool.
I'll have what he's having.
So it's very cool. But I will say that was a tough choice because I used to do a lot of modding. So I would, the DS one, the SD one, all of the, they're all great to mod. You can make them sound great, but I had to go with what can you just buy,
Okay.
right? And just plug and play. And it's a difference. There's a lot of detail write up about this in gear forums and all over, but there's two modes. And the first mode is supposed to be like, the original distortion, the first, from like 78, but it's not. It's a different circuit.
Oh.
So
Surprise.
it sounds different. It's not exactly the same. Right. And then now you're talking, is it post or pre 1994, when they changed the chips and all the, so, but yeah, so the DS2,
Okay.
I got to go with. Yeah. And then
Number 3.
yeah. So for an overdrive, I think I was going to say the super overdrive, but I think that I might have to go with the Nobles ODR1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With the bass cut. I do like the bass cut switch in the new ones, but yeah, that's a very good overdrive. So we got, what did I say? Phaser, distortion, overdrive.
Now, is that one of the original? I think the earlier ones, those are quite expensive, are they not?
They're pretty expensive. Yeah, they did not have the bass cut. That's relatively new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because they got the spectrum knob, which is like a tone knob, right? But it actually boosts or cuts the low and the high at the same time, so it kind of like retains the mids.
No.
So that's what it's very interesting because when you crank that all the way up, it's going to boost the bass and the treble, and like kind of keep the mids where they were ish. So however it does with its band pass or whatever filtering. But yeah, that's a very cool pedal. I love that pedal.
Is that something you would keep on as like an always on, or is that something that you just need a little bit of grit?
Well, you could, if you put it down low, you could get that little, edge, little touch of breakup there. If you put it down low, it's not going to clean up completely on its own. You'd have to do some volume knob, trickery. But yeah, I think that could be an always on. You can crank it up to, almost medium gain at the top end, and I think it sounds great. But yeah, it could be an always on. But I'm a big pedal stacker kind of guy, right? I like to stack overdrives. I like to stack distortions. So I'll keep, right now I got on my pedal board is like a straight, I'm not using like a multi-row, pedal board. I've got it where it's set up. It's a straight. I'm trying to kind of keep only maybe like 5, 6, 7 pedals max on this. But yeah, I think if, I try to keep them in different, gain sets so that I can stack them. Right?
There you go.
But yeah, and then I think the other one right there is going to have to be
just really quick. I did a look up the difference. The ODR1 that you're just talking about is about $120 brand new,
right?
And you can get them on Reverb for a little bit cheaper. But the thing I was thinking about the ODR S, which is the overdrive special. That one is $575 on Reverb. So
yeah,
save your money, kiddies.
You could. I'm not too sure about the differences. I don't know if there's a different ship or something on the inside, but
yeah. And then
I don't know.
The original, the silver over, the silver overdrive. So this is the Noble's silver one. Is the I guess the old ODR one is $1,200. So
oh god.
Yes.
I wonder what year.
Well, it's a 2003.
That's from 2003.
Yeah. So now I'm not saying all of them are like this, but this one is.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyways. Okay, so give us your last one there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say just because I've built it, on my own. I built like a clone of this, but the the Catalan bred Montevillian. It's an analog delay. It's very nice. It has a tone knob that you can adjust the repeats. You can control the tone on the repeats.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a very interesting circuit. But yeah, it's the P2, 399 delay echo, right? Delay chip based delay.
Right.
And sounds very nice. Lots of, kind of like a carbon copy, but you can, with no modulation, but you can adjust the tone of the repeat. So it's a very cool.
I like that you can color the pedal. We're looking at it right now.
It's black and white, so Tony thinks you can color
but
it.
no, it looks like a coloring book, and you
It
can
kinda
go
does.
Could color it.
It's like an owl.
It was discontinued for a little while, and so I got, I built the clone of it, just to have, and they make them again.
Yeah,
So
That's cool. So it says that it's a low res delay. Can you offer any commentary on that?
Well, so the chip is kind of antiquated now, for delay use, which is fine because it sounds great for what it is, and it's not, going to be as super clear like a digital, like a DD3.
Right.
It's not going to sound exact with its sampling, but it does sample. There's an audio to, analog to digital conversion that does go on in the chip in the way that it samples. All it is just the sample, right? And then it feeds it back through the further that you push the delay sound, it's going to start to get kind of, a little maybe low res, and it might get a little fizzy so I don't put mine all the way at the top. I put, I think the repeats on that I'm not sure. They might go up to like 600 milliseconds, but I don't play it with that far up just because it's, for my purposes, I don't put it that far up.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of people that max out those things.
No, because even digital ones start to sound weird. Now, is that a Bucket Brigade chip that's in there, or is it something other than that?
No, that's more the way that's put together is it's actually kind of low parts count, honestly. It was interesting that it was kind of streamlined in how it's put together. But I had the Waza delay, the analog delay.
Okay.
And that one sounded great, but it's you'd have to put it on the Waza mode, right? The custom mode, to get it to really clear up. But yeah, it's very interesting. I like that it was a low part count because I could get frustrated if it's if I build it all out with a ton of components and then it doesn't do right.
Yeah, then you're like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, I've spent so much time, debugging all sorts of, especially starting out, like, what am I doing wrong? Right.
Huh.
So,
now, if some of you are interested in this pedal, they do have it released also as a Chicago Music Exchange exclusive, and it's $100, and it's full color.
Yeah, but you can't color it.
No, that's true. But it is kind of neat.
$100 is a good deal.
$100 is a good deal.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think normally it's like $135 or something. I get the emails, with some sales stuff from them, and they've got, sometimes there's B stock and there's
the price is kind of all over the place here.
Actually,
it's like $100, $180 for the exact the exact one. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
and I built it for like 10.
Yeah. Go have fun on Reverb, everybody.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your four on the floor, the much beloved segment, as I understand from at least a few listeners.
Yes.
But we have you on the show to learn more about humanoid pedals. And I think if you will allow us, we've got the Goblin in front of us. Why don't we just get right into Goblin, and then we'll start to peel back the onion and find out how Humanoid came to be. Okay.
Sure.
So this is a tone distorter, and when I first saw that, I thought, no, that's just, I guess, like a interesting name for, to not call it either an overdrive or a fuzz or whatever. But upon playing it, one thing that I immediately gravitated towards is that it worked really well with chords. So I could really hit it hard with chords, and it didn't just blow out and just turn into just,
Right.
Maxed out fuzz tone or something like that, where it just becomes inarticulate, and which is interesting to have on an overdrive pedal: volume, drive, and fuzz. That's very so. Tell us about that decision right there, because I think that is a very unique one.
Yeah, the whole point of what I've been doing was to offer something that's unique. Now, I did not come up with this circuit initially, right? This is differential audio manifestations, right? The DAM black acid fuzz is what that is based off of originally. And that is the black acid tone distorter. So I maintained that because that made sense for what it does. But it's it's a silicone fuzz pedal with, as you mentioned, the gain knob makes it very unique. It's loud. It can be a preamp overdrive. When you dial back the fuzz or the gain, you've got the ability to max it out and be a big fuzz wall. It's kind of a bunch of things. You can sort of adjust the spectrum of the, there's a bit of, some EQ magic happening when you cut or boost the gain, the drive knob there. And it can be a number of different things and sounds great with chords. You can do a lot with it, and it's super versatile. I think they only made under 100 of these back in maybe 03, 04, spanned, a couple, just like a year, maybe they were making it. And, they didn't do a ton of them, and I don't think anybody else was making this. And I came across, the ability to get the circuit made, and I got it produced, and then I started making it, and I called it the Goblin.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Now the one thing I noticed is you really have to goose the fuzz, but once you're up in that maybe 3 o'clock and beyond position, it really kicks in. Is that by design, or is that?
Well, there's a couple of things with that. So there is like an internal trim pot, and so you don't need to buy. I mean, the biasing is just kind of a set it and forget it, because it's basically like a floodgate, right? Mm-hmm. If you adjust the bias any other, it's not really going to do anything to help the sound. It's just going to kind of close off the gain, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't really need to be doing too much with the biasing, but you've got all the varying HFEs for how hot these transistors are. Mm-hmm. So these are like the silicone can BC 109Cs.
Oh, I was going to say that's probably you're using the Cs, aren't you?
Yeah, these are the 109Cs.
I'm just kidding.
They're very high gain for silicone, and but they do kind of vary widely. So some of them might be like 450 up to like almost 700. So it depends on where you get them from, and then also the batch, and who knows, who manufacture, if they're different manufacturer. But they're it's kind of by design a little bit, in that you really have to be pretty subtle in how you can adjust that fuzz from 3 o'clock all the way to, diming it. There's, it's a bit interesting, and it can turn if you max the gain and you max the fuzz, it kind of gets to be like square wave.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. It gives a little bit of that, edge to it there. But yeah, it's very interesting with, anybody it's basically a modified fuzz face.
Yeah.
And if anybody's played a fuzz face, you might want to, do a little bit with the gain, but you can't. And now you can.
Nice.
And no tone control, right?
No tone control, but obviously as, it gets a little bit darker, when you push that gain all the way up, it's really kind of letting a lot more of the spectral, the signal through. And then when you cut that way down, you can get it down to like a real early 80s sounding kind of thrash, thrashy metal if you want, so it does more than what you couldn't really chug on a big muff so much, to an extent, depending, right? But then, when you pull that gain back, you can kind of get it where, it retains that kind of hard picking without it being super woolly. So it's a unique pedal.
Oh, that's cool.
For sure.
Yeah, we had fun with it, and it's interesting. Like I said, that was the only thing I noticed was you really have to get the fuzz part of it going, and then once it's there, it goes from like 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's very subtle adjustments at the top end with that fuzz.
Yeah, definitely.
I do write that up in the description that subtle movements, of the knob up at the top level is kind of, you could play with a bunch of stuff in that range there. But I've found usable settings up and down, all across. Anything possible on there has been usable.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so at least for me. Yeah.
Boy, these differential audio manifestations is the DAM pedals.
Yeah.
Whew, save your money, kiddies.
Yeah, they're pricey. Yeah, I think that this black acid, if you can find one, like I said, I think they only made like 70.
Yeah, it's $460 on Reverb, but never fear. Yeah. Don't worry, if you don't have enough for that, you can certainly get either the Emanating Fist or Dope Priest for $600.
Yeah. Wow. And there's the Black Dust.
There's a whole bunch. Yeah, I mean they're kind of neat, but hey, if you're a collector, then go for it.
Yeah, these are handmade circuit boards.
Oh wow.
Yeah, these are serious.
Lots of box candy to go with it too. Very interesting stuff. I'm not familiar with this, so I'm like, whoa. See, I learned something every single episode. That's what I love about doing this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that if you found yourself tickled by the idea of the awesome tones that you might get out of this, then check out the Goblin. For far less than the ones that we were just referencing. Now, let's talk about, so how did you start getting into this kind of thing? Like, you weren't born a pedal builder.
Or was he?
Or were you?
I guess you could argue that now that I am, then I was born to be this, I guess. But no. I'm a software engineer by trade, but I guess I got into this. I taught myself how to solder when I was 12 or 13 or something, playing guitar, in bands and changing the pickup sound. And I had some pretty crummy pickups. So I learned pretty quick on how to get rid of those.
Or repairing chords.
Yeah, repairing. That's right.
Before Tour Gear Designs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of this was just kind of, shooting from the hip. And so just getting into it from, I didn't have to teach myself how to solder again as an adult. I did have to kind of teach myself how to do the circuit boards. That was a little bit new, but I spent the time just kind of building this stuff for myself. And eventually just, I wanted to, I got the itch, right? And you just want to keep going. And I, make myself busy doing pedals is something that I love. And at the point now where I said to myself, I want to offer, I have the ability to offer, in this case was the Black Acid, right? Is the Goblin, and nobody else is offering this. And I said, this is an awesome sounding circuit. People need to hear it. And not everybody can afford, $400, $500, $600 for, vintage or a unique, limited edition, limited quantities pedal. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's silicone, and you can, it doesn't need to be only a battery, and you can daisy chain it. It's fine. You can hook it up to a regular power supply. And, so, I mean, that became the goal was, hey, I think I can make a go at this, and I can offer some unique circuits that nobody else is offering. And so I kind of jumped in, feet first or head first.
Uh-huh.
Right. And I did it. And, lots to be learned, from mistakes along the way. But
well, tell us about one of those mistakes that you learned from. What was one thing that, like, when you're talking with your other pedal broskies around the campfire, you say, "Well, this is what I learned."
Yeah,
maybe that happens. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think that
in between some s'mores.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. Some of it has to do with, maybe some of the components that you use, and trying, like maybe I don't use a type of like input jack anymore, or, you try some of the different stuff and some of the other suppliers too. And then you have issues with like, print quality or whatever. But I would say that some of the mistakes I made were, not measuring twice before cutting, right? So I did some of the stuff I got printed, and it just was not looking so hot, and you had to wait, I had to wait the time that it takes to get it. And, it just is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I was doing were some of the old strip board layouts, where I was making my own circuits, and it's just so much work. I don't know how some of these guys were doing that for, large quantities, like the original Timmy, right? Yeah. I mean, if you see whenever they come up on Reverb, there's usually some good inside shots, and yeah, he was making the circuits, and it's a lot of work. You can easily make a mistake in how you're, preparing it. And if you're doing something a ton over and over, it's not going to be, too much work. You'll find like a rhythm. But yeah, I don't think I would want to do that too regularly anymore. Right.
What is something that, you might pass on to a new, somebody who's learning, or just kind of knocking them out, like, I'm just going to do a few for myself. Any words of wisdom for them?
Yeah. Well, I guess the words of wisdom would be, if somebody wants to make a go of doing this, right? Don't worry about what how much work it's going to be with growing the business, or what you're going to do. It just start out, just do it. I think that's what I did. And it eventually kind of fall into a rhythm, you get a stride going. And I think, just make what you want. And if there's some other people that want to buy it, that's great. But don't be too cheap with yourself. I started out selling stuff way too cheap, and people said, you got to charge more,
Yeah. But if you do that, if you keep it too cheap for too long, the used prices are going to reflect really poorly. and you
That's
can't
true. Yeah.
you can't raise your price. Like everybody's gonna be like, screw that. I remember that when that was X amount. I'm not going to buy it for more.
Yeah, I got really worried about when I had to change the prices for the first couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, people are going to see that the price change. Nobody said anything to me.
That's good.
Just raise the price.
That's good.
Nobody cared. Yeah, nobody said anything. And again, I was going.
They're still really affordable. They're appropriately priced.
Well, that's the other thing is I wanted to keep it, attainable, right? So there's sometimes people are there might be an overdrive pedal that I know for a fact I could build very quickly, but there's other people that are charging $200, right? And they look great and the quality is great. And I'm not saying anything bad about the prices with that, but for myself, I want to be at the price point where people can, maybe they want to try it, and it's not like going to be, a huge issue for somebody to buy one.
Yeah.
Right.
I can dig it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And, something that we were talking about last night, when, we had a quick call and we just, got to know each other a little bit. You said something that was interesting, and I'm not saying this to hold you to to what you said, but you said, I wish I could just give my pedals away.
Yeah.
And that, tell me about what's the thinking behind that.
Well, I think that part of it is, and you've got a very, it's a good question to bring up because, these are things that I make. Of course, they have value, and nobody in their right mind would just give stuff away that they just make, right? But I think that, it's something that started as a passion project. I really want everybody to hear and experience, these awesome pedals, these awesome circuits. But yeah, I think that, I make them a bunch and I'm constantly churning them out. And I think that I just want people to be able to try, try what I've put together. And I think that, if I could give them away, it's great. I would just keep making them more, even if I was giving them away for free. But
you're obviously not going to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not holding.
No, but I think that the segue that from what we had talked about was that, I would expect more people to kind of like reach out and kind of chat me up a little bit on, because I'm not just like some intern that's managing like a giant company account, right?
Yeah.
It's me. I'm the actual guy that's making the pedals. I'm making I'm doing the social media posts and. I've offered discounts and stuff for people. I'm like, hey, we had a great conversation. Why don't you, if you ever want to buy one of my pedals, you don't have to, but if you do, here's like a special, 25% off coupon code or whatever,
right.
Just because I want people to enjoy it, really. I mean, I think that I get enough satisfaction that somebody actually just enjoys something that I've made. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of in itself is really enough. I mean, it's not in the end, I'm not going to be on my deathbed wishing that that one pedal I should have charged $149 when I was charging $109 or something. I'm just would more did people really enjoy what I made?
Mm-hmm.
I think that means more.
I got it. I understand. I feel you. So you have a couple other pedals as we're getting into those, and just you can share a little bit about it. Are you coming at this from I'm going to make kind of pedals that for music that I like to play, or are you saying, hey, I want to make pedals that, what's your approach on this?
Yeah, I think the approach is to offer, a variety, right? But I mean, I use all of them. So in my own. And again, my own purposes are putting together demos for social media. That's the only thing I'm really recording. I don't have a secret Spotify band that I'm in or anything, but I think that, if these pedals can cover a wide range, people that might want low gain, high gain, other things that are utilitarian, sort of like a delay, or if there's going to be something else. I want to be able to cover those bases for a wide array of users. But yeah, I mean, things that I would use, things that I think that could be certainly well accepted on a variety of pedal boards, and not necessarily defined by a certain genre per se. But yeah, I mean, I have this pedal, the Entity, which is germanium, and it's an overdrive, and it's very...
Tony speaks germanium.
Yes, ich weiß nicht, was soll es bedeuten, dass ich so traurig bin. Ein Märchen aus alten Zeiten, das gibt mir nicht auf
You're
den
scaring
Sinn.
me here.
Die Luft ist cool und es dunkelt.
Okay.
Und ruhig fließt der Rhein.
Stop. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. It's actually a very nice poem.
I'm sure it is. Okay, sorry. Back to you.
No, that was
it's germanium.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm speak germanium.
Yes. So tell us about this pedal a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's mostly transparent. Okay, so I like the way that sounds. It's an overdrive that goes very low gain all the way up to pretty medium gain. It can get up there, and it's very versatile across a ton of different genres, I'm sure. And I use it in all kinds of different settings, and they've all been very, they've all sounded great. I think that it's kind of one of those where I think that just people need to use it. And I think that if they tried it, they would love it. And it's not tied to any, but it does have a little bit of a vibe to it when you see it.
Okay.
The design, it does have a little, it's a little maybe comic booky, little
dark,
little illustration, little dark kind of horror imagery maybe. But
so it sounds like a pedal that would be really great to push another pedal, or if you're playing like cleaner stuff that you need some color or some teeth, some teeth to it. That sounds like it'd be great for that.
Yeah, if you if the gain is all the way down, you just you turn it all the way down. It's going to be on a hot bridge pickup. You'll get something that's a little bit of hair.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like at the lowest setting. It's going to be heavy distortion or anything like some of these things. But for an overdrive, it's not going to go super clean like a Centaur, because it doesn't have that boost at the low end. But it's very flexible for what it does. But when you crank it up all the way, you don't even need a distortion pedal anymore. There you go. The top end of it can do the distortion thing.
Nice.
And it's all very transparent. You can get a little bit of a mid hump, but nothing honky like a TS9 or anything. It's something that people may not realize that it is what it is. I like to advertise that it's got the germanium new old stock glass diodes that are basically exactly the same thing that's in the Centaur, but it's not a Centaur. It just happens to be 2 stages of clipping, and the second stage I use the germanium. It sounds great. People need to hear it, man.
Yeah, well, and it's priced very nicely. I think you can you can go on to the website right now and pick one of those up for $109 while they last. So
yeah, and there's still some of these codes floating around that I've had on my Instagram. If someone were to scroll down on the feed, I think some of those still work. So you can still use a code if you got one. But yeah, there's free shipping.
I think there's a YouTube pedal or YouTube thing that's going around that says the best overdrive you're not using. So
that's what he said.
Yeah, that you should make that decision for yourself out there. All right, now aside from a couple drives, you have the Psychosis, which is a tremolo, right?
Yeah, so that's interesting in that it is an overdrive still, but with the tremolo built in.
Aha.
So it's tweed. It's like a tweed Fender Tweed voiced kind of overdrive.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I use these rare transistors for the the gain. There's no clipping diodes. But yeah, there's a tremolo optical hand. I hand roll the Vactrol in there, and it's very interesting. You've got the speed there that is indicated on the LED that's blinking, so you can always see that. But there is only the one switch. I know that some people might want the second switch, but I think that what this does is it gives you the ability to kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And you can just switch the pedal on and off, and it is a very unique sounding transistor overdrive that gives a very closely resembling a Fender overdriven Fender Tweed amp.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the design I thought I'm pretty, proud of. I worked with the illustrator with that, and I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, it's a very unique pedal.
Nice. Good. Now, you are constantly, you said you're tinkering constantly, and earlier you mentioned you're working on something new.
Yes. Yeah. So I have, coming soon is, very soon actually, is what's called the Humanoid Power Armor. And that is a parametric EQ with a mid sweep.
Okay.
You've got a clean boost, right? So you got your level, and then you've got your low, mid, and your high control for boosting or cutting. But the mid has a separate sweep for going through the mid frequencies, and you could cut or boost, those mid frequencies. So it does retain the mids throughout, no matter what. Similar to how I was describing the Nobles, right?
Right.
Except in this case, you can sweep through. So it's a little bit between like the tone job and the haunting mids.
Okay.
But you can, it retains the mids throughout. So if you want to cut it, you do have to sweep through the frequency for what you want to cut, but so you will retain the rest of the mids. So it's interesting because it's a parametric EQ, but with with a little bit of a twist.
Yeah, excellent. When should we expect to see that out?
That's good. It should be showing up pretty. I actually am waiting for the printer. I use Amplify Fun out of Portland. I do have to give him a little bit of a shout out because Spencer over there is so great. He's helped out so much. I've gotten faceplates made from him, the UV printing on the pedal enclosures. He'll do the drilling. He's great. I've got those coming from him. The very first kind of test batch, which looked great on the what did he give me? The proof. So that should be showing up next week.
Wow, fantastic!
Is when I'll make sure that I got something nice for the pictures, and it's going to be like a soft. I'm not huge into doing these major, release announcements or anything like that.
Well, you're kind of doing one right now.
Maybe, yeah, but I'm not really planned it, too much for.
Yes, it's a soft major release launch. Announcement.
Yeah. So soon though, it'll be the kind of thing where suddenly it's just available.
Okay.
So pretty soon though, probably sometime next week.
Okay.
It's going to be a busy fall because that's not the only pedal.
You got something else cooking.
There's some other stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just wet the whistle here, or
well,
you don't have to go into deep detail? Huh?
There's going to be a delay.
Okay.
A delay pedal coming. Yeah. So there's that.
Okay. All right.
It's part of the fall lineup.
We'll have to keep watching the Instagrams and stuff for more information.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell any name or any other details about it, but there is going to be a delay pedal.
Okay. We'll now on your website. Do you have a newsletter people can sign up to get information or?
You can sign up with the email for updates, and I do send out if there is like a new pedal, there will be something that gets sent out if something's new or back in stock, or maybe there's a new version. Like I said, the entity right now has got faceplates on like a white enclosure, and these were UV printed on the faceplates to keep all the detail there.
Right.
And it's interesting because I wanted to try that out to see what that would be like. But prior to that, I had, where these were in a smaller enclosure that were, directly printed. So I'm kind of doing different variations of stuff. And when I do that, I'll send stuff out or discounts, the discount codes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You can just sign right up on the site. There's a little email field.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I know that a lot of people when they're building, they have, just like anytime if somebody's saying, "Oh, what kind of music do you play? What's your guitar style?" People typically will say, "Actually, I was really inspired by blah blah blah," or "I really like what so and so is doing." If I gave you the floor and said, is there anybody that you would like to recognize either in helping you grow to where you're at, or to just from an inspiration standpoint?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think that just some of my best memories that I could tell you, and this could be arguable about the tone, whether or not it's good, but I'm a big Dream Theater fan, and I've been listening to them since basically the beginning. And way back. And I think that some of that guitar tone I tried to capture with being, a kid without money, right? For that, all that kinds of gear.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that it was always interesting, the type of tones that John Petrucci was getting. Okay. And, I certainly nothing that I make resembles, a dual rectifier or,
right.
A Music Man guitar going into all that stuff. But yeah, I think that some of my inspiration for maybe the tightness, I think that I could compare a little bit of that to, retaining some of that, the transparency, the jangly nature of like, a Telecaster, right? Overdriven into a Fender amp is some of my favorite tones. And you could play anything on that. It doesn't have to be, you could play Dream Theater, you could play the Rolling Stones, right? So I think that, anything that can retain the guitar's character, naturally is going to be a big win. And I don't know what that has to do with Dream Theater, but yeah.
How about pedal builders? Anybody in particular that you either drew inspiration from or just want to recognize?
Yeah, I think that somebody to recognize here is, and this, he's been a big help, for me is, and this is a smaller guy, but I follow closely my buddy RDFX, right? Ryan DiNardo. He's a small builder, but he's got some awesome stuff. I've gotten in early on some of the things that he's offered on Reverb, which I'm not sure if he's offering some of these anymore, but yeah, he's helped me out. Very cool guy. Very, very great work that he's doing with his pedals. He's got fuzz, he's got a delay, he's got, overdrive. Very cool stuff. Very affordable too.
Productive. This is some interesting. Oh, these are nice.
Yeah, he's got the Pillars drive. I've got one of the early ones. It's they're all hand wired. I think that mine was made on perf board or strip board, and I've got also the Palooza Drive Mini is. I've got the Mini. It's got 3 settings with just like with the volume, and that's all hand wired in there, and it's no circuit board. Very cool stuff.
All right. Well, and one last thing before we get on to our Would You Rather here. You are making these out of North Carolina, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, but from Ohio, like you guys.
Yes,
originally.
you mentioned that.
Yeah, Cleveland.
I just wanted to shout that out because I know that there are a lot of builders in that region. You know, the Carolinas, Virginia's kind of area that we keep seeing come up, and many of which we've had on the show. So
There are, yeah. There's actually just south of here is Alexander Pedals.
yeah.
He's right by. I've talked with him. He's right by. I went to Harry's guitar shop. He's got some of the stuff in stock there right now. Yeah, he's great. They got Disaster Area Manufacturing down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other guys over a couple, closer to Asheville, and yeah, there's a lot of builders coming out of North Carolina right now.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I just wanted to give you North Carolina a shout out there because
For sure.
you know,
Yeah.
it's great to see people popping up all over the place. And I don't mean popping up like they already just started making stuff. We don't know all of the builders. We're constantly discovering new ones, not discovering in the sense that, look what we did. We discovered this. It's just we're finding them. They're already there. It's just we haven't seen them. So,
yeah, definitely. But I love it down here. We've been coming down here forever. You know, my wife and her family, and so we've got. I like to make sure that I do say, you know, that my pedals are made in North Carolina. I'm very proud of that on each pedal.
That's really cool. Well, thank you for the background and everything on the stuff that you're making. We are going to check into Tanya here.
That's right, Todd, because we're going to jump in our favorite El Camino.
That's right.
We haven't had the El Camino on for a couple of weeks.
We're going to take my old, I had a 66 El Camino.
Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Very good. I usually do that sound.
Yeah.
But you did a very nice job.
I appreciate that.
I'm giving you a gold star on your chart today.
You know what's really neat? It had a whistle. It had a vacuum whistle on it.
You told me about the
It had the
vacuum
cord.
whistle. We discussed
Did we discuss this?
We discussed the vacuum
we
whistle.
discussed a lot of things.
Woo woo! Sound like a choo-choo train.
That's what I did.
Big choo-choo train. Anyhow, we're jumping in the El Camino.
Yeah.
We're gonna just drive around for a while because it's fun, and we got a cooler in the back. And Bill, you want to join us?
Sure.
All right.
Of course.
You okay sitting in the back there with the cooler?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I could sit back there, and if you need the the bench seat that's in the El Camino, you can take that. Todd's driving.
I've been in there. I think I'll take the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still in the market for an old Subaru Brat. If you see one,
with the two jump seats.
we should get one and just paint it orange and black.
Why not?
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Well, Todd, as we're driving around, guess what we pass?
Probably a McDonald's if you're driving.
What? No, you're driving. Off to the side of the road, I forgot where I put it, but it's the time machine.
Oh.
The time machine is right there on the side of the road. So, Bill, can you give us a hand loading that back into the back of the El Camino there?
What? The Subaru Brat could be the
Subaru.
time machine.
The Subaru. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we're doing wrong. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So this is kind of fun. Earlier in the show, I talked about how, Kim Thales' USA reissue model is like $7,000. And then I started looking at some of the other signature models out there. Noel Gallagher's 1960 ES 335 or 355, excuse me.
Yes, I should say so.
The Murphy aged one. That one is about a cool $10,000. And then Dave Grohl's DG 335. That's like the Trini Lopez, his model. They came out originally. They were like around $6,000 or $7,000. You can't touch one now for under $15,000. But word is that our friends at Gibson they're thinking about reissuing the DG 335 so that more people can enjoy that wonderful guitar. I don't know what they'll do different to differentiate the two of them, but it will probably make some of them more affordable. There's also rumbling about maybe doing an Epiphone version of that. But enough about that. We're in the time machine, and we as you remember from a couple of weeks ago, very subtle changes can really have a dramatic shift in the time-space continuum. So let's just take these two artists, for example. Now, Noel Gallagher, of course, and Dave Grohl. Now, their original guitars that they played, in Noel Gallagher's case, it was a cherry red 1960 ES-355. And in Dave Grohl's case, his first Trini Lopez that he bought was also a cherry red. Now, a Trini and a ES-355 are similar in shape. It's the same body shape. But Dave's, or the Trini Lopez model, has a 6-in-line headstock. And you know, for all intent and purpose, it's a very similar guitar. Now, Todd lifts his nose up at a 6-in-line headstock. He can't help himself. What we're going to do is, in our time machine...
Yes.
Let's just say we have unlimited funds because we went back in the 70s and started investing in Apple, and we're just loaded to the gills. We can buy anything we want. So,
I love it.
So we're taking back
like a Subaru Brat from Seattle for $5,200.
Exactly. Let's buy 2 of them and drive it back.
Yeah.
And with the jump seat. Oh, I love the jump seats.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we're going to have an opportunity to possibly change the course of history, or at least the tonality of 2 very different bands. I would call them very different bands, that being Oasis and that being the Foo Fighters. Now, Dave Grohl has described his 1967 Trini Lopez as the sound of the Foo Fighters. Noel Gallagher's 1960 ES-355, he thought it was too nice to play. Now, so that gives you an idea. These guys have an affection for those. The thing about the time machine is we can beat both Dave and Noel to the punch and go to the guitar shops that they bought those instruments and transplant.
So we're going to mess up the space-time continuum.
Yes, we are, because we're going to go...
I know what you're going to do.
What am I going to do?
Are you going to switch them?
You're going to have an opportunity. So, we're going to go back to 1992 in Bethesda, Maryland. And this is when Dave was still touring with Nirvana, and he bought his Trini Lopez. Or did he?
Uh-oh.
Because we are going to substitute a 1960 ES-355 and give the proprietor specific instructions that if this crazy-looking drummer from a band called Nirvana comes in, you are to give him the deal of a lifetime on this 355. Oh, how could he resist?
Yeah.
It's a red guitar.
Right.
What's the difference? Or we're going to set the time machine back to 1997. I'm just going to say that Noel bought it in Manchester because I wasn't sure where he bought it. But he in 1997 is when he purchased his 1960 ES-355. We're going to go to that proprietor and provide him with a Trini Lopez model, 1967. And again, with the specific instructions, if that bloke from Oasis comes in looking for a guitar, we're going to sell him this. You're going to practically give it to him, so he has to play a Trini Lopez from now on. And the reason we do this, and this is one of my favorite things, because it irritates Todd because he dislikes Trini Lopez models so much. But if his all-time favorite guitar, one of his all-time favorite guitarists...
It's a specific one that I don't like. This one.
This one, yeah, because it's got triangular sound holes. But I'm just wondering...
Diamond sound holes.
Yes. Or I'm sorry, you're right. Diamond, thank you.
Yeah, and a 6-in-line is like...
Yeah. But let's just wonder. I'm just wondering if, because Noel Gallagher played one, if Todd's opinion would change. But anyhow, so this is the Would You Rather. Would you rather go back to 1997 and provide Noel Gallagher with a Trini Lopez model? Or would you rather go back to 1992 and provide Dave Grohl with an ES355?
Does that negate Noel from getting one?
You get to choose.
Because that's not a choice at that point.
It's a choice. He's going to get the guitar. He's not going to get the 355, which became synonymous.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking. If by him choosing,
would you rather change the course?
who am I messing up? That's what you wanted.
Who are you messing up?
Okay,
Are you going to change the course of the band
gotcha.
Oasis?
I gotcha.
Or change the course of the
gotcha.
band the Foo Fighters?
Gotcha. Okay. So, Tanya, you go ahead and lead off, then we're going to check in with Bill.
Okay. I'm going to switch out. You know what I'm going to do. Just to irritate Todd.
Yes.
And to make sure that Noel Gallagher plays from that point forward a Trini Lopez. I'm going to switch those out. I'm going to Manchester. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that's your choice. Bill, what are you doing?
That's very interesting. I think considering the future of how Dave Grohl's career has progressed beyond Nirvana, I think we should give him the switcheroo.
Ah.
Yeah.
So he's going to play a ES355 with a Veritone and suffer through all of that stuff. And 3x3 headstocks. Oh,
Yeah.
piss off.
Not a straight. Yeah.
All right. So we got one vote for you're going to beautiful Bethesda, Maryland.
Yeah. Well, I'm just certainly not. I'm absolutely not going to give Noel the Trini Lopez. No, not in a million years.
Oh, I think it would be funny.
No, it would be not good. But anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Bill on that and interfere with Dave,
Okay.
which I think he'd be just fine.
Why do you hate Dave Grohl?
He's an every man's man. So like, yeah, heck,
He was born.
you could even give him a Strat and he'll be able to play.
Maybe.
I think he would have been fine with what guitar he ends up with.
Well, you know, he toured for even before Gibson made his special model. He toured with a series of Firebird Studios, which are basically flat, set neck, flat topped Firebirds.
Yeah.
So he could probably handle a solid body just fine.
Yeah.
But
He
But he's not
he would
getting
hate
that.
the-
He's getting a super sweet guitar instead of the Trini Lopez.
but it's not the sound of the Foo Fighters.
He would hate the headstock too, I guess.
He might hate the headstock because both the Firebird and the Trini have 6 in line.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, well, that was an interesting one with one heck of a long setup. So thanks, Tony, for that. We need to say thank you to a handful of people who mean a great deal to us.
deal to us, even more so than Noel or Dave.
Yes.
So these are the folks that are our executive producers. Now, executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a sponsor, a patron, a hero of the podcast. Yes, we need another hero. Let me tell you. You get some really great thank you gifts courtesy of Todd. I mean, this is really nice stuff. This isn't just like, oh, look at me, I got a pick and a sticker. No, you get a really nice package. But in addition to all that great stuff, there's one thing more as an executive producer. Jared, what is that?
You get to have your name right on the thing.
Where did Jared come from?
He's all over the place.
Where is he? He's like Elvis. He's everywhere. So special thanks. Oh, I'm going to read these names.
Do it.
So special thanks to these executive producers. Moon Guitars, Veteran Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Micah D., Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemolero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pappas, David Tyndall, Trevor Ellenberg, and Christopher Logan.
Yes.
Thank you, one and all. But you know, Todd,
I do.
what's he like?
He's a nice guy.
Really?
Yes.
I find that hard to believe. There's another group of executive producers. These are our grand poobahs. They are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap.
The cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like you to feel like you're important and have something to say in this.
I appreciate that.
I'm always caring about Todd. So special thanks to these grand poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igareda, David Kiminga, Brandon Wound Pickups, Hicks Matos, Mauricio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Van Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, and Enrico Fernando.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We truly can't do the show without you. Thank you to those who support us. And we encourage you, if you've been on the fence about it, been thinking about it, we would love for you to join that. Much thanks.
Yes.
So, we got a couple other giveaways we're going to be doing real soon, by the way. Yes.
Do tell.
Yes, some more giveaways. So, we need to find out, Tony, hang on 1 second. We need to check with Bill to find out where people can go buy these awesome pedals that he's making.
Yeah, good question. Humanoidpedals.com. But there are sales on reverb.com as well.
Okay.
Those are some of the interesting ones. They can pop up. Who knows what they'll be.
Fantastic. And check out your Instagram as well. Humanoid Pedals.
Instagram, Humanoid Pedals.
And Tony, how about yourself?
Yeah, head over to pickguardian.com. Check out all the stuff that I have on there. And most of it is custom work. So just shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what you need, what material you're looking for. I think I can help you out.
You got a lot of stuff over there, man. I tell you what.
I'm tripping over it.
Yes. You can shoot me an email, Todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram @guitarknobs. We would love to hear from you. We would love some new Would You Rathers. I bet you can do better than Tony just did.
No!
I bet you can. Try it. Just send us something. It'll make your day. It'll make you feel better.
You can even use the time machine if you like.
You can use the time machine. You can use the genie. You can make up
the
your own
ghost of
thing.
Frank Zappa.
The ghost of Frank Zappa. Right. Anyways, we need to say a colossal thank you to Bill Tallisch from Humanoid Pedals for stopping by.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Good. We didn't ruin your life tonight. I appreciate that.
No, this was well worth the time spent.
Hey, what's the thing about that fader?
What?
If you turn the fader down, does it?
Nobody knows what you're talking about. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic week, Guitar Week.
Yes.
And a week, even if it's not a Guitar Week. Have a fantastic week. And subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
He's got the vapors going.
I got the vapors. And you do go by Bill, right?
I just go by Bill.
Okay, thanks, William.
William.
Yes.
It was really nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not as bad as like Arby's. Oh,
I don't know who eats Arby's.
It's so weird. It's like
there's always people there.
It's like processed roast beef. Why couldn't they just make roast beef?
Is it really processed roast beef?
Yeah. Have you ever seen it? It comes in a frickin' tube.
Bazinga, not a finger, baby. I've lost my train of thought. It's not my chair, not my problem.
and it's
too.
like spiral cut.
Is it good?
I mean,
I've never
had
eaten there.
And we're all drinking sparkling water.
andTony has a McCafe Coke.
Yes, a McAfee. It also acts as an antivirus.
Yes. What came with that McCafe Coke?
Be
honest.
Be honest? Who's asking? I had 2 McDoubles.
Nice.
Greasy as... Well, Arby's started in Youngstown, Ohio, my hometown.
We had one with a big
Yep.
giant cowboy hat in my hometown.
Yeah, of course.
Never went there.
Well, no. You're freaking... Shakespeare.
Yeah.
To be or not to be?
Mr. Balloon Hands. Did Carl's Jr.
No, just write who started.
start
Don't ask
the
leading questions.
salad bar?
You're leading the witness.
It's good. That's a
That's
good point.
fascinating, Todd.
Yes, well, it goes in line with my middle name, Elizabeth. Yeah. Well, all right. Your story has become tiresome, Tony. All right. Wendy's did not start the salad bar. Carl's Jr. in California actually started the salad bar.
No.
Yes, it did.
It was Ponderosa.
No.
Ponderosa
Look it
or
up.
Bonanza.
Look it up.
Either of those steakhouses.
There just wasn't
But that
one
doesn't
before
count.
that?
It's not a. You can't count a steakhouse.
Why? You think you're actually steakhouses?
Yeah, man.
Ponderosa and Bonanza?
I don't know. I've never been to them.
Oh, they're like...
I've been to a Ponderosa.
All right.
Back when they had the salad bar.
They're budget.
Look up the Google thing.
Goo-goo. Now, I laughed at that. That was a good one. I will take that.
Yes. Are you much for the Witten Wood, Bill? I need a fiddlisk. Bard. Anyways, I wonder if anyone has ever changed their middle name to middle name. Just to mess with
I'm
people.
sure.
I have
That'd be
no,
amazing.
I have no middle name.
You don't?
No.
Is that a Polish thing? Aha. Carl's Jr. was actually a trailblazing chain. It was the first fast food chain to offer salad bars in all locations.
Fast food.
Boom!
Fast food.
That's what I was talking about. We're talking about fast food.
I'm
For
going
fast food,
I'm
yeah.
going to
In
Del
77,
Taco.
it became the first fast food chain to offer salad bars in all of its 200 locations. I was there. And it says, enter your subscription number. And I did. And they said, hello, Todd. And I'm like, what the hell? I was right the first time.
You were right the first time.
My brain is wacko right now.
Yeah.
It's the Sloppy Joe I had.
Sloppy Joe.
I had
Sloppy
one and a half Sloppy
Joe.
Joes and it corroded my...
Slop.
Tony, I know things. I received 2 issues of Bassmaster, but I did not sign up for a subscription. I don't want a subscription. I don't fish. This is a mistake or prank, I suspect. Please remove me from this subscription list. I do hope fishing people catch all the fish they want and enjoy the time off from work to relax and talk about tackle and have a cold one. Personally, I will continue to eat fish once in a while if the pairings make sense and if the restaurant is reliable for their quality of product. I won't likely ever fish because of a horse riding accident that aggravated a baseball injury.
That was my favorite.
Thank you, and I hope you catch the big one someday, if you have not already. If you have, then you must be fishing for existential purposes. That is probably healthy for your soul. And that's why I don't want a Bassmaster subscription. What do you think?
Yeah, just imagine what the rest of the show is going to
I
be
know,
like.
right? Here we go. And away we go. Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.